Greetings and welcome to this week's presentation, Trends and Practices Digital Transformation, presented by yours truly, Victoria. And this is part of my ELRC 7500 course, and this is Module 3 or Week 3. So let's get started. Today's presentation is centered around all things digital transformation, including the definition, emerging themes, and implications in the workforce. So let's start with the definition of digital transformation, or I'll sometimes refer to it as DX. It is used to refer to the profound transformation of business and organizational activities, processes, competencies, and models to fully leverage the changes, many changes, and opportunities of a mix of digital technologies and their accelerating impact across society. But what's key is that this transformation is done in a very strategic and prioritized way with present and future shifts in mind. Okay, so let's see if we can make this a little bit more simple as far as the definition and more layman's terms. According to EDUCAUSE, they defined digital transformation as the process of optimizing and transforming the institution's operations, strategic directions, and value proposition through deep and coordinated shifts in the organizational culture, the workforce, and technology. I'll say that again. EDUCAUSE defines digital transformation as the process of optimizing and transforming the institution's operations. And by institution, they're referring to educational systems, whether it be K through 12 or colleges, universities, etc. Their operations, strategic directions, and you remember last week we talked about tech plans and strategic planning and strategies. Here we see that word again, strategic directions and value proposition. Hey, what's the impact? What are we going to get out of this? Through deep and coordinated shifts, which can be difficult in the culture, workforce, and technology. The digital transformation equation, and this still falls under the definition of digital transformation, is the intentional change in institutional value proposition, which I mentioned a little bit in the previous slide, plus shifts in culture, workforce, and technology. So that's essentially what the equation is. According to EDUCAUSE, the pandemic required institutional leaders to respond to students quickly, shifting needs with agility and flexibility to use strategic leadership to guide their institutions through disruptive changes, and to prioritize tight resources by focusing more closely than ever on advancing their institutional strategies. If you recall, or depending on when you're watching this presentation, at the early stage of the pandemic, it was chaotic. Not only the fear of the unknown of the pandemic itself and its impact on people mentally and physically and emotionally, you had school-aged children who were not able to go to schools. And so the educational system had to figure out a way. How do we still educate our future? How do we still educate our legacy? How do we still educate our children, regardless of their income, regardless of their needs and where they may be in their academic career? How can we still help them? And so I personally believe that this statement and what they're referring to is just that. I do recall in certain situations where my friends, my colleagues, coworkers were setting up mini classrooms within their homes with computers so that their children could still learn in a school type environment while the pandemic was still taking place and they were not allowed to return to their classrooms. So, as I said, the institutions had to respond quickly to the shifting needs with agility and flexibility to use strategic leadership to guide their institutions through this disruptive change, and to prioritize tight resources because there wasn't, automatically in the beginning an increase in funding to purchase computer items or make technology changes. But nonetheless, prioritize tight resources by focusing more closely than ever on advancing their institutional strategies. These pandemic outcomes of greater responsiveness, stronger strategic leadership, and increased alignment with institutional strategy happen to closely match the competencies that contribute to digital transformation. So digital transformation, will help your institution or even workplace reinvent itself to thrive during changing and challenging times. It can enhance education. So, for example, digital transformation helps you adopt creative new pedagogic strategies and reach more students, as well as support a more diverse student body. Improve student success. Digital transformation leads to improvements in the student's experience, retention, faculty teaching, and advising, course performance, and students' time to completion. Advanced research. Digital transformation opens doors to improved research methodologies, including those that can benefit the most from access to big data. And then streamline administration. DX offers ways for institutions to improve their operations and business practices. The resulting increased flexibility means the institution can adapt to emerging challenges more quickly and with more agility. So, in the article, consider the 3Ds when talking about digital transformation. White, so I hope I pronounced that name correctly, states that it's easy to mistake the regularly increasing presence of digital information and processes as digital transformation. Higher education institutions have been moving everything from payroll to classes online for many years. Efforts at making information and processes digital may trigger or contribute to digital transformation, but by themselves, they are not digital transformation. These efforts utilize digital technology, but they lack the institutional transformative work involved in digital transformation. And then the author encourages the reader to consider the 3Ds when thinking about digital transformation. And this is what I consider as part of, the emerging themes. And that is, we digitize information. Digitization is the transition from an analog to a digital form. For example, we digitize paper records for archiving and retrieval. We put information online that wasn't online before. Now, there is going to be a section where I talk about, implications in the workforce. But while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and just talk on it a little bit briefly in regards to the workforce that I'm in. And so, long gone, in most cases, where it can be, are the days of, floor to ceiling filing cabinets with lots of paper. Paper that you may or may not remember why it was there and what it's needed for. It may or may not be filed in the correct place. And, oh my gosh, heaven forbid if you need to find something and it's not where it's supposed to be, because either it was never put there or it was mistakenly looked at prior to you needing it and was not put back in the correct place. And so in my workforce or my workplace, we've gone from having those types of filing systems where we literally had warehouses full of boxes of paper and filing cabinets where things were filed to now those documents and those things are online and can be accessed online. Whether it be the manual scanning of documents into these digital folders or these digital systems, or being able to do more things online, which makes it easier to save those documents and file them away for reporting purposes, auditing purposes, monitoring reviews, compliance reviews, etc. And then the second phase or process or theme, we digitalize processes. Digitalization describes using digital technologies and information to transform individual institutional operations, such as payroll, procurement, research administration, and even course delivery. The missing piece in digitalization, the thing that keeps it from being digital transformation, is the intentionality of a coordinated effort aimed at institutional transformation. So again, if I could just tie this back to the workplace, in most cases, again, this is just most cases, there's still some outlying situations, especially with small businesses and new businesses and nonprofits. And depending on where you are located in the country, or outside the country, you gone are the days of getting paper checks. In instances, you automatically have to sign up for direct deposit when you start a new job. Whereas in the past, you may have had the option of direct deposit or paper check, or there was only the option of a paper check. But now it is, you have to um, sign up for their direct deposit. And so that is one example there. And then procurement. When I started out in my career, I worked for a nonprofit, and I had to write lots of grant proposals that were tied to procurement. And I remember having to make 10, 15 copies of the proposals to then drive down or to send by FedEx to the entity so that it could be reviewed for hopefully a grant award. Those days no longer exist, thankfully. And so those, again, just other examples. And then next, we digitally transform institutions. Digital transformation is an institutional strategy to transform the strategic direction of value proposition of the college or university. Digital transformation involves deep and coordinated shifts in culture, workforce, and technology. Institutions will likely need to have gone through significant digitization, and digitalization work for digital transformation efforts to be successful. Key point here: how an institution approaches digital transformation is highly dependent, as I said before, on its culture, values, and strategic priorities. And then emerging themes. This was just as I was, attempting to learn more about digital transformation. I came across this article, "The Top 9 Digital Transformation Trends in 2023," that was published earlier this year in July of 2023. And in that article, and the sources at the bottom of this slide, it notes that the top 3 digital transformation trends include change management, which I'm not surprised by, because this is going to be a huge change. This is different from, like, maybe, during the generational time of the baby boomers and Generation X, of that evolution of technology. But this is a huge change management, or just as huge as back then, that we're having now. So the mindsets, the attitudes, the comfort of doing things as we've always done them really cannot exist when you're talking about digital transformation. And then we have cloud migration. When I think of clouds, I think of beautiful clouds in the sky on a nice day, especially on a beach. But as it pertains to digital transformation, cloud migration is a huge theme, and it's something that, again, tied to the workplace, that we use very heavily on. No CDs, no floppy disk, everything is being saved in the cloud. And then the use of advanced technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning as well. When I hear of artificial intelligence and machine learning, I immediately think of the movie. I think it was I, Robot. It was a Will Smith movie. It was a really good movie. And I just automatically just think of that. Okay, implications in the workforce. I've already talked about this already, and so I'll just briefly touch on this for the sake of time. But in my opinion, I've already, again, mentioned some things, but in addition to what I've already mentioned, digital transformation, in my opinion, helps with efficiency. And there's this saying that I've heard before, that you want to work smarter, not harder. And so with digital transformation and the things that are transformed or that result from this, does allow you to work smarter and not harder. The job market, of course, skill sets are going to change, and people are going to have to learn new skills and new ways and new processes. But again, that's just part of any type of transformation. The one concern that I do have is in regards to original thought and passion. And this goes to, speaks to the artificial intelligence and the chat GPT or what have you, to where you can say a few words and then automatically it will generate some thoughts for you. Sometimes that's not always right. Sometimes it's very mechanical, and you lose the passion for something that you're trying to speak on. Just my personal opinion. That's it. Thank you for your time. As always, I love to connect and collaborate. My email address is there. I hope that you gained some insightful information from this presentation. Until next time, take care.